How worried are you that Leeds haven't now scored in many... Oh, shit. How many games is it? 4?
4.5.
Okay. Yeah, just how worried are you as a Leeds fan that Leeds haven't scored in 4.5 games now? This drought is a little bit worrying given where we are in the table. Welcome back to Where Whites Walk. We've got Chris, who's fresh back from Ellen Road. I think he's just about woken up from that Brentford game to give his view on just what isn't clicking at that top end of the pitch. Plus, we're talking about the FA Cup game. The Man United away game is our next fixture in the Premier League, and we're choosing our goal of the season so far, so stay tuned for that. 20 minutes of Leeds chat. If you haven't yet subbed to the channel, I'll be very grateful for you to do so. And there's loads of great Leeds podcasts out there. This is just 20 minutes, one of the shortest ones there is on the internet. Right, Chris, shall we try and summarise that Brentford game in a sentence?
I can give you one word. Shit.
Yes. Cheers. Right, end of podcast. Thanks for watching. What's going on at the top of the pitch? And also, that's as I say, it's 4.5 games now that we haven't been able to score. Obviously, penalty aside from Lewin last week, but what's not clicking?
Honestly, I wish I knew. It's a really strange time, I think, because it's almost like he's shifted now from the defensive setup that was obviously not working, but we were still scoring goals, to a more attacking setup now, where we just don't look like we're able to create anything. I mean, watching the game yesterday was such a struggle because it just didn't ever look like we were going to score. It didn't look like anyone was going to score. And honestly, it's really concerning because you think we played a weakened Sunderland side, we played a weakened Crystal Palace side, we played a Brentford side that didn't really look like they wanted to do anything. And we haven't been able to, like you say, penalty aside, been able to really achieve anything.
The teams around you, if you look at that Forest Spurs game again today, for as much as they are still in the mire, they are scoring, aren't they? Forest scoring 3 today. Even Spurs can score. West Ham can score. I saw one fan wrote on Twitter that if Leeds do go down this season, it won't be because of any individual result or player. It'll be because of January 31st, when that transfer window slammed shut, that our owners didn't find their wallets in time. Would you subscribe to that view that we are now seeing the outcomes of higher ups' decisions?
Yeah, I agree completely. I think a lot of people give Farke a lot of stick, and maybe rightly so. He deserves it sometimes, but at the end of the day, he screamed for an extra attacking player in the summer. He did the exact same in January as well. He didn't get what he wanted, and like you said, we're seeing the effects of it now. I mean, we have Calvert-Lewin, who obviously went through that really prolific spell, probably at the wrong time, because it was right in that period of the transfer window where the owners had probably looked at him and thought, you know, we can't bring someone in that's going to take him out the team. And now we're seeing the effects of him having a drought, Nemecha not being able to score in front of goal. Obviously, Peru's not really cut out for the Premier League, in my opinion. So when you look at all the players that were getting you goals beforehand that may have influenced the decision to not buy anyone, and they're all just failing to perform in front of goal, it is really concerning. And that's not a reflection on Farke because he asked for it, he didn't get it. I don't think it's a reflection on the individual players. I think it's just, like you said, a reflection on the board at the top.
You say Peru's not at Premier League level. Has he been given a fair chance? I mean, I know he was here before, but has he really been given a run of games? And
Yeah, I think okay. I think I'm being a bit harsh on him there, but when he has been on the pitch, it just almost looks like he is missing that level. And obviously, we saw it against Norwich in the FA Cup. He was really good in my opinion. But I think he's one of those players that I think are too good for the Championship, but they're not quite good enough for the Prem. And I think you could argue Dan James is somewhat that level of player as well.
Yeah. Okay. Did he get his team selection correct this week?
Yeah, I think he got his team selection correct again, but just like at Palace, red card aside, the first half there, no one really could do anything. I don't know if it was the tactics he had set out, but against Brentford, it looked like the plan was just to pass really slowly and lethargically around the back and keep turning around and going back, and it didn't look like anyone had any idea what they were doing.
We'll talk about the next game in a minute, which is United. Before, of course, that we got international break and an FA Cup game to look at as well, Chris. So West Ham, how do you see? How's this one going? I mean, I've literally seen some Leeds fans saying it really doesn't matter about this game. In a quarter final, first time in 20 years, something like that. But actually, we need the league points more than we need this win. I mean, one game away from Wembley as well. But you know how Leeds fans feel about Wembley as well. What's your take on this? It's a
We need
sense of kind
to,
of you should be enjoying it, but you can't enjoy it because of where you are in the league.
yeah, we need to win that game. If it was an Arsenal, if it was a Man City, you would say, okay, let's try our best, but we're probably not going to win it. So don't let it get your head down. But against the West Ham team that are currently sat in the relegation places, you will play on the last game of the season, and you do need to like get a performance out of it. You can't sit there and just think, right, well, let's not win this one. Let's win the one at the end of the season, because whichever team comes out on top of that, one, they're guaranteed a place at Wembley. Two, they're going to have a lot more confidence going into that final game of the season. And three, like getting to a semi-final of the FA Cup could kickstart a season. It could, like for Leeds, if we were to win that, it's going to be massive for us, I think, going into that Man U game and then that run against Wolves and then Burnley.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to win the cup itself, I mean, do you look at the teams left in it? Do you think you've got as good a chance as anyone?
I think that depends. Firstly, well, let's say we get past West Ham, because I don't think we will. But if we do, you've got to look at who's left. I think for me, it will be whoever comes out between us and West Ham, Chelsea, City, and then Arsenal. I would fancy us against Chelsea. I think we would struggle at Wembley against an Arsenal and a Man City. I think Arsenal would breeze past us just because of how we've performed against them so far. And the City, although we've not deserved to lose either of those games, again, you see them today. They just know how to win at Wembley, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the United game there. Then there's all these some big fixtures for Leeds coming up as well, because no Leeds fan's going to want to go to Old Trafford and roll over. Just your own personal dislike for United.
Yeah, I don't like them. I never have. I never will. And I think for me, that game's the players will be up for that game. I think you do tend to see a lot of derby games, and I think you can it goes to maybe Sunderland Newcastle today, where the players and the fans just looked so up for it. And I think it would be like that with us. You'd have certain players that would be putting their all out for that. And again, I think you just look at the game earlier in the season against them where we played exceptionally well, and it was a goalkeeping error that cost us 3 points. So do I think we'll win that game? No, I don't. But I think that we'll go out and we'll probably give a better performance than we have done.
Right. Looking forward to both of those. We're talking a little bit about finances across the EFL at the moment and the football league. Where do you see Leeds' finances at the moment? And if we were to talk about some of the Championship clubs losing up to 30 millions every single year, and that football's becoming unsustainable beyond the Premier League, do you think football just in general is in danger of imploding if we don't change the model and the structure of where the money's sat at?
I think that the model that currently exists in football is there to benefit the top teams. I think it was brought in, and I'm probably wrong on this, but I think it was brought in to say that it would make it more fair, but in reality, it just protects the bigger teams from staying at the bigger teams. Because I think to say that you can use a certain amount of money from what you earn, knowing the bigger clubs are going to earn a lot more than your Burnleys, and if you go into the EFL, your Stoke Cities, etc. You know, it is an unfair rule, and I think something does need to change, because I think from a Leeds perspective, we're okay. I think because we have that global appeal, and obviously having American owners definitely helps as well. But there's obviously so many restrictions on what you can and can't spend, and it seems like if a team that isn't a Big Six team exceeds that, they get punished. If a big team does exceed it, in the case of Chelsea, they just get a slap on the wrist. So it needs changing, but will it change? I don't think so.
Okay. Great to know your thoughts on all of this, as always, in the comments. Right, should we pick our favourite goal of the season then? We're starting doing our awards a little bit early because we've only got 5 records left. So we'll start, and this all could change, of course. But what's your favourite goal of the season, Chris? The one that's got you out of your seat, either your sofa or the Ellen Road season ticket seat?
There have been a few that I've just sort of looked at in awe, but I think for me, it's got to be any of Stack's free kicks. Maybe the one against Villa. I know a lot of people say Martinez was poorly positioned, and that if he wasn't, he would have saved it. But I just think it's that good a free kick that I don't think he'd have got it anyway. With how far out it was just fantastic. I'd probably say Longstaff against Norwich as well in the FA Cup. The sort of the control, the turn on the volley and just into the corner, that was fantastic as well. But for me, just because of how difficult it was, Stack.
Yeah, good shout. Now in the comments, please. What have we forgotten? Any other good goals you think need mentioning? And finally, then we're up to the letters U and V in our A to Z. Now the other team have done you dirty on the Chris, so off on their holidays again this week. So have you got a U or a V for us?
A U or a V? Well, I can give you a V.
Yeah.
I can give you Mark Viduka.
Yeah.
But I can't give you a U.
Yeah. Any Umbro kits or under 21 side underdogs?
I can give you Harry Gray.
There we go. Okay, let's go with under 21, shall we?
Under 21s, Harry Gray. I think he'll be, well, if he stays at the club, obviously. Hopefully he doesn't have one good season, then depart like Archie. But I think Harry Gray is a special talent. And I think regardless of whether the Championship or the Prem, I think he'll have a bit to play in the future. He's only 16, 15, just turned 16, I think, maybe. But he's going to be even better than Archie, I think.
Brilliant. Okay. Right, under 21 side and Mark Viduka going. Now we've only got W, X, Y, Z left to do. So join us for those after the international break. Cheers, Chris. We'll give you a week off from talking about Leeds next week. Have a good rest. Have a good Easter as well. And make sure all of you, of course, have a good rest as well. We'll be back here after that West Ham result. And, of course, before that Man United game to preview that as well. And with the rest of the team back from the holidays. Thanks so much, Chris. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Where Whites Walk. Drop us a sub if you don't already. Have a good week.